Holy fucking hell! We got some serious backstories this chapter. And early to boot. On top of that, I actually recall when I was watching other, reviews, another reviewer predicted that Vegapunk would have some involvement in this. But it wasn't just that. It was the tying of the knot between Vegapunk and the world government. Because as we know, as much as Vegapunk is associated with them, he has not been entirely loyal, such as when he had PX-0 programmed to guard the Straw Hats for the entire time skip solely because Kuma said so. And yet, that shouldn't have been a thing, technically speaking, but he did it anyway, showing that he wasn't loyal to the government. And the backstory we learned from Frankie being on his island during said time skip, it proved that he wasn't a bad soul either. He was a good scientist, just wanting to do good for his island. So, with we know about him and Caesar, he was the moral compass in that one. And now we have the seeing that he wasn't entirely with the world government to begin with. Actually, I'm noticing a trend here in terms of, part 2. There's been a lot of keying in on Vegapunk's true allegiances and true nature, even though we still don't know what the fuck he looks like. So, we've gotten to see Vegapunk's backstory little by little. Chronologically, what we got this week is the second earliest of what we know of him, with the island being the first. And now we know that before he was, being taken by the government, him and Judge, the two of them, were working on these, clones, so to speak. The nature of cloning humans and creating life. So yeah, that's pretty weird. And we also can, put together that he had something to do with genetic engineering. And going into, engineering, actually, that'll come after I'm finished with Vegapunk. Vegapunk himself, now we know how he was tied to the world government, because it was against his will. He was basically arrested for what him and Judge were doing. So, how in the world he got together with Judge, on the other hand, is the new question. But we finally got the big question answered on how he got with the world government, at the very least. That's a big thing. Second biggest thing in this chapter would be the fact that Sanji is part of a couple of genetic enhanced humans. We're not sure if this means he's clones like the others, maybe a clone of Jaji or something, but at the very least he is genetically enhanced. On the other hand, it did not show, at least when he was with his family. Now, it could explain some of his absurd strength he shows nowadays, but then again, Zoro has a similar strength, and he's definitely not a genetically enhanced human, so, enough said with that one. But we do know that their brothers are, and maybe the electric stuff that they've been using, and whatever, maybe that's part of their genetic enhancement. Maybe they have similar enhancements to, say, the Minx Electro. Because Niji was kicking Sanji's ass. But Sanji still kicked his ass in surprise prior to that, and he was mostly shackled down by Zeph, the threat of Zeph's life being taken. So yeah, at the very least, you can see that, where his siblings stand. Plus, like I said last week, you know how I said that, Reiju might not be as evil as we think? We got more hints of that this week, such as they'll make fun of me if I don't do this, and so on and so forth, although it's probably become second nature to her by this point in time. At least as a kid, she didn't seem all that bad, and she was still healing Sanji's wounds. So maybe there is a connection between that, We'll just have to see. But I hope for Reiju's sake she shows a better side of herself now that we don't see. She's still the one who put the cuffs on Sanji. We can't forget that much. So how deep is she in the noble, act, per se? Is she truly a noble in all sense, or is she just acting like it? I'm very, very curious as to see what will happen. But for now, tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Don't just watch the video and not subscribe. Who does that? Everybody. But regardless, if you feel like subscribing, feel free to do so. Also, follow me on Twitter at the very least, and Facebook, so you can keep up to date with my releases. I put most of my releases on Facebook. Sometimes I miss a few. But Twitter has all of my releases on there. So, the links of both of those are in the description below. And for those of you interested in, say, gameplay of Attack on Titan or Naruto, especially when the next one comes out later on the year. But for any of you guys interested in stuff like that, that's my second half of this channel. So the links to those videos are also below as well. Till next time.